Jason here again with another video for EEM 171 codes and installations. And in this video we're going to be looking at the three-way switch circuit. Okay, and we're going to talk about how it works and the devices needed to make that work. Okay, so again we have our light fixture, okay, for our light bulb. And then we also are going to need two three-way switches. Okay, so a three-way switch circuit is used when you want to control a light or a group of lights from two locations. Okay, so if you want to do that, say for example in a long hallway, okay, if you want to have a switch on each end, or a flight of stairs, you want to switch at the top of the stairs and one at the bottom. Okay, those are just a couple examples where you may use a three-way switch. Okay, so let's look at the switch itself, because it is a little bit different than the single pole switch. Okay, so you have your toggle here to actually control the switch, and that's the same. You'll notice on this though, on off is not labeled. Okay, and the reason for that is that depending on which switch has been activated, that can change which way on and off is. So you know, one time you do this, down may be off, up may be on, but if this one's on right now and the other switch is flipped, now that becomes the off state and down becomes the on state. Okay, so that's the reason they're not labeled. Alright, so let's look at the screw connections. Okay, so here on the right side you have two different screws. Okay, you have a brass screw and a black colored screw. Okay, so the brass screw is for a hot connection, which we've talked about that in previous videos. The black screw is called common. Okay, it's the common point of this switch. Okay, so don't confuse that with the term neutral as common. Okay, so this doesn't mean that the neutral wire, which is also called common, connects to this switch. Okay, no neutral wire connects to this device. The term common here refers to common point of the switch itself. Okay, so the power will come in from this screw terminal. So from our 14.2, the black wire from our panel would come to this screw terminal. Okay, on the first three-way switch. On the other side you have another brass screw and a ground screw, of course, which will twist your wires together to connect to ground. Okay, so to sum up what you do for your first three-way switch, twist your grounds and attach that to your ground screw, wire nut your two neutrals together. Okay, the black wire from your 14.2 from your panel will connect to this black screw. Okay, to kind of give you an idea here, this is our 14.2 wire. Say that's coming from our panel, so this one would connect to the black screw here on this device. Then on your 14.2 you have, or 14.3 rather, you have a black and a red. Those two will connect to your two brass screws here. Okay, so you can put your red here and the other black here. Okay, so those two wires will be basically your signal wires to the other switch. Okay, so hot will go back and forth just based on where this position is. Okay, so your 14-2 wire is your common coming in. These two wires are called travelers. Okay, and that's the term used when looking at three-way switches and even four-way switches. Okay, because they're not always hot. One of them will be, but not the other, and it'll flip back and forth, or will travel back and forth on these two wires. Okay, so that's how you connect your first three-way switch. On the second one, pretty much the same process. Okay, your grounds twist together, wiring out your neutrals. Okay, the black and red coming in from your 14-3 from the first switch will connect to the top screws on the second three-way switch. The hot wire going out to your light on the 14-2 wire will go to your common. Okay, so on the first switch that was power coming in common. On the second one it's power going out common. Okay, so the rule I always like to use with three-way switches is in on the common, out on the common. So power coming in will go in on the first common on the three-way switch, and power going out on the second common of the second three-way switch. Okay, so if you remember that rule, that'll help you out. In on the common, out on the common. Okay, and then your 14-2 there will go on to connect to your light. Okay, we've discussed how it wires up in a previous video, so if you need to look at that, check out the other video. Okay, but that is the three-way switch circuit. So to sum up, you need two 14-2 wires and one 14-3. So coming in to the first switch, we have 14-2. Between the two switches is a 14-3, and then to the light is 14-2. Okay, so we need that 14-3 wire between here for our travelers. Okay, for the two hots to travel back and forth. Okay, so just make sure you get your common connections correct. Okay, that's the biggest mistake I see with this circuit. Okay, making sure that you have power coming in to the first common, power going out to the second one to your light. As long as you get that, the rest of it should be fairly simple. Okay, so that sums up the three-way switch circuit, and that's all for now.